Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here, that we're all here. This is the Daily Medicine Transmission brought to you by Catalyst Energies for April 9th, 2021. Now, I talked about this date quite a bit in the transmissions leading up to this day, in the weekly astrology, in the monthly astrology for this lunar cycle, because this day has a lot to offer us. And so the title of this transmission is Light Emerges from Darkness. And I would argue it can only emerge from darkness. There is no concept of light within us without coming out of our own personal hell. So I want to take a moment to thank my subscribers, welcome you back. You truly are the lifeblood of this channel and of these transmissions and all of the content that I offer. So thank you so much for participating and being part of this process. If you're new to this channel, either on YouTube or BitChute, welcome. Thank you for being here. Now, I would remind you that if you like this content, if you find it helpful or inspiring, you can share it, you can subscribe to the channel, you can hit that like button, and you can interact in the comments section. All of those things are very small but really impactful ways that you can support independent content creators like myself who do not have large followings and huge sponsorship for their content. So if you are here and you really like what goes on here, definitely subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. That is always a great way to, the interaction with the content also really helps it move along. So let's get right into it. There is a lot going on today, my friends. So yeah, let's get grounded here. The moon is in Pisces all day today. The moon will move into Aries either very late tonight on the West Coast and then into the very early morning as we move east along the United States and, of course, into past the east coast of the United States, across the pond into Europe. And the dissipation of our emotional energy, of our personal experience, of our feeling-based landscape as we dissolve and dissolve and dissolve is becoming so palpable. The moon is going to meet Neptune in Pisces and square Mars today. That means Neptune is going to square Mars as well. And our emotional state is going to very much be aligned with where Neptune is in Pisces. And Neptune is the great dissolver. So if it's not already feeling, disempowered enough with the moon in Pisces, when she comes around and meets Neptune at this point, it's really just scattering us, dissolving everything into this one formless whole, which really tests our ability to trust the process, surrender to the flow, and to accept the mandate being brought down from the mountain. Now, a square to Mars in Gemini in the belt of Orion right now, and is close to making a conjunction with a fixed star Mintaka. And we'll talk more about it in the astrology report that's coming for the next new moon cycle, because we will talk about the weekend as well, because our new moon is going to be on Sunday evening. So there is a whole bunch of astrology leading up to that point too. And fixed star Mintaka, there are a lot of star seeds from this place. So we're going to talk about that. But the warrior within us, especially in Gemini, boy, the distraction and the scattered mental energy. And I'm going to show you, something really quick that's going to potentially be like, oh yeah, that's how my mind feels, because I know it's how my mind feels right now. So this square with the warrior within us, we really want to almost force something to interact with each other. We want to force this organic dance of the dialectic together in order to, there's a bioenergetic rebuilding that comes from the recognition here that the dialectic eventually does need to interact with each other if we're really going to make the most of it. And Mars in the Orion aspect and the Orion star seeds have really been getting a strong strong warrior energy to influence that aspect of us, Orion star seeds. And it requires incredible amount of discipline, self-discipline, willpower, which Mars does have. Self-discipline, I don't know with Mars. You do need discipline to a certain extent to be the warrior, but that's much more of a Virgo energy, which of course Vesta, asteroid Vesta, as we talked about, in Virgo right now, in conjunction with fixed star Thuban, the Alpha Draconis, right? The draconian star seeds, more every day they keep stepping forward, and these individuals, it's really imperative that the Draco star seeds are stepping into the highest light of their power, because it is so easy to get pulled into the lower forms of that reptilian energy and that serpent medicine, and it will bite you. The snake will bite you regardless. If you are I wouldn't even say not careful. Honestly, it's just going to bite everybody. And the Draco starseeds are the ones with the innate frequency and resonance to hold this serpent medicine and use it for its higher purpose. Many Dracos and reptilians find themselves in positions of power because the serpent energy and the serpent medicine is so powerful. So we do know that there is some self-discipline here, some willpower that Mars needs, but even in the face of this square with Neptune and the moon in Pisces, it's really no match. And so we can feel disempowered. We can feel hopeless, right? We can feel like, what are we doing? No matter what we try to engage with, even trying to find an organic, holistic dance with the dialectic of the opposition, right? The division that is constantly being stoked. Even if we recognize that and we want to empower ourselves through it, if we want to act on it, if we want to force it, it's not going to really work. And this is a moment here where we have to just allow ourselves to move through this last little bit here of the moon in Pisces and in her balsamic phase before we break out into the new moon in Aries. So the first new moon of the season is going to really initiate a lot for this whole year. And we're so close. And I mean, I'm not predicting anything major happening necessarily, although boy, there is a lot here that could absolutely spark some major event or a series of major events. But it's really about the, allowing this process to unfold naturally, and we want to force it. And there's so much fire energy right now with all of this Aries and Venus right now in a coming very close to a conjunction with asteroid Eris, which will be happening tomorrow. So we'll go through the chart and just kind of look at some things and remind ourselves of what this process is really about, which is about all of us growing into our soul's mission, all of us growing into ourselves and on the path of becoming the highest version of ourselves. Because that's really the only way, honestly, that we make it through this process, is when everybody does the internal work and everybody blossoms essentially into who they came here to be. And with this new moon, we are going to, especially, it's conjunct Eris, right? There is a lot of birth, right? This renewal and this strong warrior energy, of course, with Aries coming through, but it's conjunct with asteroid Eris, right? The goddess of discord and chaos. So it is going to be through the chaos that is rolled into our awareness that our inner fulfillment is really going to be initiated. Because when we understand that the fulfillment is about an internalized experience of bringing the masculine and the feminine together within us, and we feel that fulfillment and we know that it's possible within us, it doesn't matter what chaos rolls in, right? It doesn't matter what chaos rolls in. We won't be fighting amongst each other to be like, oh, I'm the most this and I have the most information. I'm going to make these predictions. Blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff. When that comes into our awareness, or any amount of chaos, really, it is going to give us the opportunity to triumph over entropy, allow entropy to be the process that renews us. And it's definitely here. And we are so right there. But at the same time, it is just like every trigger you can imagine. And this just wanting to crawl out of our skin is really strong. And so being able to just let the Pisces energy do what it needs to do, because of course there is always a cycle, always. So we just allow this process to happen and take as much as we can from our descent into our personal hell. Now, speaking of personal hell, I will say though that this new moon is also goes along with the with Venus in a square to Pluto. So just be mindful that this is going to be tested considerably with this descent into our own personal hell, right? Venus is in the underworld already because she is traveling with the sun. So we do not see Venus when normally we would see the planet Venus. So it is in the underworld. She is in her own personal hell, in this state of emergence and renewal, in this really powerful, fierce feminine. So she definitely can match the energy that Pluto is bringing to the surface with that square, but it's something to keep in mind. So let's look at the chart here. All right, we're going to minimize here so we can see what's going on. All right. So it is Friday. There will be no transmission tomorrow or Sunday. And we will, okay. So this is just real brief. Okay. I want to show this to you so that we have some reference points here. So let's see. Now, does this remind you of your brain? Because it reminds me of my brain. So don't get too caught up on like what all of this means, because there's not only all of the planets, the sun, the moon, Chiron, it's all of the asteroids. And the reason I brought this up is I just want to show you, here is Eris at 24 degrees now of Aries. Here's Venus at 23 degrees of Aries. This is where and then the sun is going to come and conjunct the moon at 22 degrees. And so we are in a conjunction point with Eris. Also today, Black Moon Lilith is going to meet Uranus today. So even more disruption, even more radical transformation that is being triggered, more crisis on the psychological level, the awakening pathway along the material realm, and then Black Moon Lilith direct coming and meeting Uranus again. And so this is triggering such deep survival, instinctual self-preservation, the dark feminine. So there is a lot here. There's so much here that is really triggering all of those feelings of hopelessness, of the darkness, of why am I here? Why are we doing this? Have we been deceived this whole time? And this is exactly when we surrender to the flow. We surrender to God. We surrender to divine source, and we pray, right? We pray. Now, this right here, this is my mind, especially lately. So this is exactly why I get up and meditate first thing in the morning every single day. Okay. Because this is, I can only imagine most people are feeling like this. And I can attest personally that this, and as the day progresses, usually this becomes much more pronounced, which is why meditation, prayer, that silent and solitude that we need we do need it. It's so important. So I just wanted to show you on the chart what's going on. So let's look here at right now. So we now have at this moment here, the moon is about to come into the conjunction with Neptune, is going to come into a square with Mars, and then Mars will, in just a little while, is going to come into a direct square with Neptune. So just feelings of hopelessness and despair. We do know that it's the organic wholeness, the dance of the dialectic in our mind, our communication, our knowledge, and our skill set, right? Everything that Gemini represents, the the interplay of the mercurial arena is we understand, and we want to actualize this with Mars. And the square here is just going to just take the wind right out of our sails. And this is, again, why it's so important that we take the moment with the moon meeting Neptune to really allow ourselves to directly, intuitively, spiritually connect to the mandate. What is it that's being brought down directly from source that we have to then apply and integrate into reality, right? It's Moses coming down from the mountain with the tablets. It's one thing to get the download. It's a totally different thing to get the download, have it transmitted, and then be like, okay, what does that look like in real life? Well, Neptune's been sitting at this point now for a little while and is soon going to move out of this degree. So we have an opportunity here to allow our deepest and most formless aspect to take in this information, to embody it into our own emotional landscape. And how are your dreams? Again, how are your dreams? I feel like that they can really give us a lot of direction and hope if we are able to connect with them in that way. Something else to consider here. Look at this. Mercury has met Chiron in Aries. We've been working with this Chiron energy now in this degree for a couple weeks now, which is really about giving new symbolism to old imagery. And when it comes to our wounding, our shame and guilt about who we are, and the potential for letting go of the old identities. This has been a real learning period. And now Mercury, having just made this conjunction, again, here's the download with Mercury, new symbols, right? This ability to really understand and have a knowledge of, have a direct connection in some ways through our mind with what this represents, and revising our attitude at the beginning of a new cycle of experience. I mean, this is what we're coming into. And so it's a new dimension of consciousness that we're discovering and revealing higher possibilities of experience. And so this is a profound moment today that we can, and there's been some aha moments. I can attest to this last night, a breakthrough moment, an aha moment about, if you go back to all of that, the chart that had all of all of that craziness, right? And just trying to be like, what is this? What is this anxiety and all this craziness? And it's coming up in our personal lives to show us and the triggers over and over and over. And it's showing us something much bigger. And now it's a teacher, and it gives new symbolic form to something that had been a traditional image. And when I say traditional, we are seeing our experiences in real time, in material form, in our relationships, and our own subjective experience. We're now seeing them as a symbol, an archetypal symbol of something bigger. And this is a breakthrough moment that we may have had, which is going to really help move through this process of, being molded by these transpersonal forces that we may not quite understand or can even wrap our minds around, but we can at least wrap our minds around the new symbolic images of what has been triggering us, and triggering that shame and guilt, and triggering that victimhood, and triggering the sense of powerlessness that it really requires a step to the side, right? A lateral move to be like, oh, I can heal without having to, all I have to do is give up this identity that is the absolute root cause of why I'm suffering. So you just step aside and give it up, and you're like, oh, I don't have to suffer anymore. So Mercury is allowing our minds to wrap around this, when with Chiron, it's just been this constant trigger over and over and over. And we kind of see it, but Mercury is now making it crystal clear very crystal clear. And this does actually connect to Mintaka, and I will address that at a later time. But Mintakan starseeds, this is something that they know a lot about in terms of crystal clear and crystal healing. All right, so what else here? Oh, Saturn. Saturn is going to trine the North Node exactly today, and this has been a build-up for quite a while, but and reflects back onto the new full moon where we had that double kite, and so this is part of that experience. And tomorrow Mercury is going to be in a sextile to both of these positions as well. And so again, we will be wrapping our mind from a place of personal emergence on this place. But where is Saturn now? Moving into the 13th degree, 12 to 13 degree of Aquarius, the barometer, the ability to discover basic natural facts that allow us to plan ahead for action. It's really important that we seek and understand a knowledge of causal progression. This is what Saturn is doing. It is like downloading some type of hardware or installing some type of hardware, right? Saturn is very formed. That Saturn provides boundaries. Saturn is time. Saturn is institutions that are so structured that they appear to be unable to, they appear so formed and crystallized that they appear to trap us in that reality. And as we know with the devil that we saw yesterday, that is the trap in itself. But Saturn does provide some discipline here, again, and form and structure. So it's important to seek a knowledge of causal progression so that we can plan in advance for action. And in a trine to the North Node that is just pulling us towards this ability to master our skill set, our personal skill set, and our knowledge, right? What is the knowledge that we are working with that is that we're perfecting in terms of a skill? Well, I would say with Saturn in this trine today, it is that is the skill, is to plan in advance for action, to install a energetic barometer within us so that we can understand causal progression in a natural way. And this supporting with a trine, very supportive of where our collective soul is being drawn in order to evolve, which is each of us being a virtuoso of our own skills, of our own abilities, and being an inspiration as a result of that. So this is a very powerful day. The other thing is Venus in Aries is now in a trine, is coming into a trine with asteroid Juno as well. And so, we are anticipating power that we can only yet dream of. And this is this is giving us an ability to stay committed to this process. Juno is the wife of Zeus, and she represents contractual arrangements and agreements and loyalty and betrayal, because that comes along with it too. And so we can enjoy the anticipation of this power. You know what I mean? We can enjoy it. We can embody it. We can kind of play with it, right? With Sagittarius, because that is the big picture and the truth. And so as Sagittarius crosses the galactic center and is about to move into Capricorn as an archetype, it is, we are anticipating that what we are alchemizing will take a form. And so Juno is here and showing us and reminding us and keeping us committed to this process, okay? That no matter what, we've committed to this process so that we can kind of enjoy this anticipation. And in a trine to Venus and Aries today, we are being molded by transpersonal forces and embodying that within the underworld of who we are, right? We're sensitive to it. It's in our relationships again. And Juno, again, it's about relationships. It's about contracts. And so we are being molded, and there's that neuroplasticity that the mind and our nervous system really has. that allows us to be open to these spiritual energies moving in, and it's coming in and we're sensitive to it and we feel it, and maybe it's not totally on the top of our awareness, but it is within our bodies with Venus. It's in the space that we hold within us with Venus, and in a trine to Juno, it is keeping us going, right? That we can anticipate and enjoy where this is going to go and allow the influx, right? It's a difficult time right now, and people are losing hope, or they are just checking out, either mentally or emotionally. And we're about to emerge. We really are. So that's the astrology just for today. It's incredibly intense. So let's look at we're going to look here at the reading as well, so that we can see what kind of guidance has come through in the intuitive messages. And I will say that I really have learned to trust my innate knowing and my own guidance and channel, because sometimes I'll pull these cards and they have nothing to do with how I'm personally feeling, which actually is a great way to know that you are pulling in and connecting to something much larger than just yourself. And that's an important thing to remember. If you are an intuitive or a psychic, or you do energy work, you have to know the difference. You have to, because if you don't, this is how you get pulled into false illusions. Well, illusions are, in false light, and get pulled into the lower 4D, because you think that how you feel is actually what you're channeling for everybody. And that's not really how it works. Now, we connect to that, but at the same time, I see a lot of people getting into this space. Okay. So, and we're all learning, and it's just one step at a time. So, and when we are going through a personal hell, whatever that is for us, it can be really hard to take ourselves out of it. But this is where we learn the most, is in these places. Okay, so we are energetically in this place of emergence. We can feel it. It's in we are energetically rooting into it. It's stirring in our subconscious, this activity and this growth period that is moving through us. But it's coming from a place here, or at least where we're coming from. This causal relationship is a little bit too much emotional stability, right? We are going to, the warrior within us is certainly going to come out. But we're gonna have some bumps and bruises, I feel, but it will lead us to, there's a lot of courage and determination here. There's a lot of fire here. But it is going to come from a place where we got to have our cups turned over. I mean, that's just all there is to it, is that emotional stability only lasts a brief moment, just like anything else. There's no constant in the universe except this change. But when we have Moon in Cancer like this, the Four of Cups, which I'll bring up in a moment, the emotions are stabilized, but let's be honest, there's without any risk, freedom is lost. And we have to contend with that if we actually want to birth this whole new world. So let's look at all of this up close, shall we? Number one, the causal relationship the causal factor coming in. So remember, we talked about with Saturn, having a knowledge of causal progression. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So the Moon in Cancer is at home, right? And the Four of Cups, luxury. It's a very momentary experience of emotional connection or emotional stability. Okay. A very momentary experience. And in fact, it's not going to last. It's not going to last very long. And that's kind of the idea. The luxury is a temporary experience. And so there's stabilized emotions, right? The Moon is at home in Cancer. This the familial matrix, the armor, the protection does provide that stability. It's very maternal in that way. And there's security, there's order here. But if you look at this card, it is gray in the background, right? The waters are starting to ripple underneath. So in the foreground, we see that all of our cups are full, they're overflowing, and it's really great. But in the background, you do see that there is a storm coming. So without risk, without emotional risk, freedom is lost, right? We have to allow our cups to be overturned. So just know that this stability is the causal, relationship that, the causal beginning, right? The causative factor that comes into the heart of the moment. So here is the heart of the moment with the Knight of Discs reversed. So upright here, we see the warrior of the earth, right? The lord of wild and fertile land, right? Wild and fertile land. You can see that the knight has his helmet off. He's still in armor, and he's got the shield, but his weapon is also a harvesting tool. The horse that he's on is at rest, he's got the head down as well, and he's in a field. And if you really look at his shield, it's like the sun radiating out. So this is the movement from Leo to Virgo, okay? And this is important to realize symbolically, because it's very connected to this emergence of the warrior as a result of all of this fire energy building within us. But in this moment, when the Knight of Discs is reversed like this, there's a lot of ways we can look at it. So this is us, right? We are the knight, collectively and individually. So usually when it's upright, there's a lot of industriousness of getting things done and protecting, and working the land, right? To cultivate, right? To bring about, and cultivate with that fire and that warrior energy behind it. But when it's reversed like this, it's very self-centered, and sullen and stagnant and dull. Oh yeah, can't you feel that? Because we've been in a place of too much emotional stability, no risk, no emotional risk. It's just we're protected and armored by all kinds of different things, right? By our own delusions, by a reality that is, we're kind of wrapping ourselves in some ways in what keeps reinforcing our confirmation, right? Our confirmation bias is a big part of this. But now we're in this position where we're feeling stagnant, we're feeling dull, we're feeling sullen, and grasping. And jealousy comes up when this is reversed too, because we want something that we don't seem to be able to get, and intolerance. So unable to put any interest in anything outside our own deeds and doings. And again, this moon in Cancer, this protection, this shell around our emotions has led us to this point now where we are really not able to do anything except fulfill ourselves, using that energy to fulfill ourselves. And it's leading us feeling stagnant and dull and sullen and very self-centered and kind of like, I don't know, grasping and jealous, right? We're just like, meh. Or just be like, I have nothing to offer. I'm totally tapped out. And part of that is because we've wrapped ourselves in this Cancerian protection, which can't last forever. So when we are looking here at where subconscious, now we're looking energetically here. So 5 of Forces, the summer, this is activity, this is growth, right? This is a fertile field, right? The Knight of Discs is supposed to be tending the field and taking care of the field and being the protector of this fertile land. And we're really struggling with that right now, but energetically, right? Subconsciously, we can tap into this really active growth period. And look, it's just beautiful, right? You have all of these really green fields. You have flowers in the foreground. It's just a time of yang activity that is at the base of who we are in our spiritual and energetic root, okay? So you can feel it stirring. I can feel it stirring. All of this Aries energy, all of this coming into being, especially with the new moon. Oh my gosh, the new moon in Aries. This is at the root of us energetically. So moving up, it hits the heart of the moment where we are individually and collectively as people feeling this sullen or self-centered stagnation, right? We feel like things are not growing, that we cannot use our fire to get anything growing. But at the root here, there's a lot of growth happening. Now, moving up, right? And so as this moves up, this allows our conscious attention to be the two of forces, the willow tree. This is very much about stability, right? But in a way that is active. So this tree is growing. This tree is living, and it's growing, and it's interacting with the environment. And it's in the summer sun, right? You can see the fullness of the sun's rays coming, shining through the tree. It's next to this stream, so it has access to the emotional component of water. Standing tall, being supported by what? The earth, right? Our root system. That is a very Cancerian thing. Calm and peaceful energy that this represents. And there's a lot of power here for reinforcing our foundation in our work, in our family, in our spiritual work, whatever we're doing. And this allows us to stand confidently in our truth. So when we root into this growth period, this active growth period, and move up and interact with this horizontal horizon of consciousness here, where at the heart of it is us feeling like we are not the lords of fertile and wild land, and in fact we're the complete opposite. But it does allow us to focus our attention on being this willow tree, the two of forces. It's a very early on in the suit, right? And to connect in to what gives us this calm and peaceful energy, what allows us to grow, how we can stand tall. And when we do that, where we end up is the Seven of Wands, the valor, Mars in Leo. Okay, Mars in Leo. There's going to be some bumps and bruises. There's a struggle to survive, right? And we have to face up to forces that are stronger than us. That's a big part of what's going on right now. And the situation at first may seem hopeless. Oh my gosh, it does. It feels it, especially with the moon in Pisces meeting Neptune, squaring Mars, the warrior. We do feel helpless at first. So we have to use everything that we've learned, everything we've cultivated, everything that we have come to realize, right? And fight with that. Again, Saturn is really actually going to support this process with this trine to the North Node in Gemini today. So, and we'll, continue to stay in this trine for, a while longer as Saturn moves very slowly and the nodes don't move that quickly either. So there's courage, there's fighting spirit, there's initiation and rebirth that's coming, right? But it won't be without some bumps and bruises, and it won't be without some struggle. There will be struggle because we have wrapped ourselves in this armor emotionally that has led to some stagnation, and now we're feeling it in terms of cultivating something very material. But here we are with our energetic axis, right? Our vertical axis, the spinal cord that holds all of our power, that is full of power and is full of the creative potential today. And so there will be valor, right? Mars and Leo. But like I said, that's going to be a struggle. There will be a struggle, and we have to face forces that are stronger than us. And I think that we have really been collectively kind of like, whoa, I'm just going to go back into my hidey hole about this, and that time is passing now. So we have some support here, as always. There's always support, always, always, always. So the scribe, number 12. What's number 12? It's Pisces. It's the 12th house, right? It's the end of a cycle. The scribe are people who are well versed in all subjects because they transcribe everything. They're writing it all down on all kinds of different subjects, all kinds of different modes of thought. They're writing it all down, so they're learning everything about everything about everything. This is a very Orion starseed thing. This is what Orion starseeds really are good at, insatiable thirst for knowledge. Okay, so when it comes to this really active, dynamic energy of the summer and the five of forces, the scribe is supporting this process in a great upsweep of study that can be really life-changing, okay? And there may be a teacher, there may be a school, there may be a program that comes out. You could step into this role as well as part of your active growth period of in that you are energetically rooted to. And we have to let this vision be our guide. But this is really about that knowledge and accumulating all of that knowledge at the end of a cycle. This is perfect for this Pisces energy. This is perfect for this Neptune in Pisces energy with the moon. Accumulate the energy. Accumulate the knowledge. That's what I actually meant to say. Accumulate the knowledge, but accumulate the energy as well. But accumulate the knowledge. This is where we can really use that growth period energy of the Five of Forces and put it towards accumulating the knowledge, learning, a great upsweep in study, right? Whatever that means, or being this person that is providing this opportunity for people. Now, the walrus, as our animal guide, it says, remain vigilant about the current situation and pay attention to what? Signs and omens, and let them dictate your choices. Well, how are you going to pay attention to signs and omens if you are not paying attention to the knowledge, right? If you are not actively engaged in the accumulation of knowledge, in the upsweep in study, this will allow you to pay attention to signs and omens, because when you are taking in information, if you have a knowledge of causal progression because you have then have an insatiable thirst for knowledge, and you take in so much knowledge, right? That Orion starseed aspect, and where Mars is. Mars is in Gemini in conjunction with the belt of Orion. So there is a lot of warrior energy that is going to assist this process too, but we have to be vigilant. You know, we can't just let it fall by the wayside because we want to go back to what here? We want to go back to this protective, you know, stable and secure emotionally without any risk. There's no going back to that, okay? It's not that we won't come back around to that, but we do have to step out of that, and we will be pushed out of that in some ways. We have to remain vigilant about the current situation, okay? We can do that when we take advantage of this energetic route into this active period and accumulate knowledge, accumulate experience, accumulate our skill set, or anything that's going to support it. But it's important that we're vigilant about it. We can't let it go because we're feeling hopeless, okay? Now, when it comes to the willow, now is the time for deep emotional healing. This is what the seagull really represents, okay? Because there's a transcendent type of energy here right over the surface of the ocean, right? The seagull cannot really be separated from this place because this is where the sustenance comes from. Now, seagulls will go inland, we know that, but they live by the ocean, right? And seagulls the reason that they come inland really, I think, is to poach food from human society. But in terms of an archetypal symbol here, the seagull is just hovering above the ocean, sometimes dips in to get sustenance, just like our minds can dip into our emotional aspect and have an emotional experience. It's important to do that. It's very important to do that. And this is a time for deep emotional healing. And the Two of Forces, the stability of the willow, the strength of the foundation of who we are and what we are here, and our life, right? Our life force and taking everything that we need from the natural surrounding. This is our focus, right? This is where a conscious attention is, and we can heal. So much about this right now is about healing and is about the inner world that and the wounds that we heal from by letting go of identities that don't serve us anymore. But part of this healing is being very rooted into this place. And what is going to support this, as much as we don't like it, is the Queen of Keys reversed. I mean, there's going to be some level of emotional distancing from something that seemed like an authority at one point, right? Or we may quit something. We might walk away from a job. We might walk away from a project. We might walk away from some material aspect that had a lot of authority over us, or we felt like we were in charge of at one point. And it's time to consider our aspirations, and maybe this flip here of us is what is going to allow for the healing. And this also is going to put us in a position where we are going to have to really rely on our own root system and the natural world around us to sustain us, just like the willow, right? There is oh gosh, there's just so much calm and peaceful energy that we can radiate from our awareness out into the world, and our conscious awareness by standing confidently in our truth. But it's going to come from this healing process and this flip of the Queen of Keys. And we have the Knight of Discs. We have these material energies that are both court cards that are reversed right now. And so we are feeling disempowered. We are feeling like something is getting turned on its head when it comes to our ability to, manifest. And with Black Moon Lilith meeting Uranus today in Taurus, again, this is going to trigger so many deep emotions that are about self-preservation. This is why the Draco need to step forward and really master their energy, because when they do that, they can be the leaders of how to do this, and show people, teach people how to do this, okay? To stand in our truth and be rooted somewhere to allow healing, deep healing, right? You don't want to indulge all of your wounding. You want to dip in and experience it and then dip back out, which is going to feel disempowering on a very material level too. So this reversal here, and the reversal of the Knight as well in the element of the earth, is going to challenge us, but there is so much renewal and transformation, and there is a battle coming, right? A battle within us, a battle of our own, our battle to be, right? The emergence of ourself. We're going to have to fight for it. We're definitely going to have to fight for it. And it's going to be the loss of something material, even within us, and our ability to actualize something that is going to stimulate us into this initiation and this renewal. And this is going to be really strong with the new moon. Because we were going to have to embody it within us as well. And going through our own personal hell is where we learn the most. And this really does speak to this, but it also gives a lot of incredible guidance and support along the way that you just have to ask for, and be open to, and just allow the feelings to move through you rather than resisting them as well. So guys, I know that's I think that's it. Yes, that is the transmission. I'm not getting anything else that I need to really share. It's an incredible time. It's very stressful. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of hopelessness. And it's all part of the process to stimulate coming into a new version of ourselves. So if you need support, if you want to book a reading, if you need energetic support through Reiki or shamanic healing, you can book a service through catalystenergies.net. That's in the description box below. I'm also on Facebook and Telegram. You can also link there from the description box below. Guys, have a great weekend. I'm going to be bringing out the new moon report. If you go to my website, you can also sign up for my email list, and I send out emails periodically to for important announcements and to, consolidate some of these lunar, the new moon energies in a written form. So if you want to get on the mailing list, you can go to catalystenergies.net. There's a splash page that comes up right away, and you just put in your email and you're on the list. And then you can stay up to date with announcements and any other exclusive offers, because Subscribe Star is coming. So that is a great way to support this channel too. And there'll be information coming out. So if you're not on my email list and you want to know about it, now's the time. Thank you guys so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I love you. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. We're doing it, right? Again, every day I've been saying it. I'm just blown away. We're doing such a great job. That doesn't mean there won't be challenges, right? But We are doing so well, and I'm so proud of all of us as we move through this process. So